Need an extra hand in the kitchen? Don't we all? Let's watch as Gabe the Robot demonstrates opening and closing a dishwasher. Opened with aplomb. Reaching in now. Steady on, Gabe. Easy enough. Last step, Gabe. Just need to switch it on. Oh well.
This is what the hype reels don't show you. Here's the problem. The same force a robot needs to lift your dinner plate is enough to break your hand. That's not a bug, it's physics, and it's the one thing standing between robots and your living room.
I am Pulkit Agrawal, MIT faculty and director of the Improbable AI lab. Now, I want robots to be in my home. I think you want them to be in your home too. But for these robots to occupy the spaces that we live in, they need to be reliable. They need to be safe around us, around our kids, and not to be breaking your wine glass by mistake. Machine learning trained robots usually understand where they should move their hands and legs. They have trained to mimic a wide variety of motions like dancing in many different ways. But they're so focused on replicating that motion that they don't account for how much force they're applying. It can damage the object, injure me, or break itself. Controlling these forces is called compliance. Our approach, SoftMimic, doesn't just make robots safer, it makes them more capable.
To fully understand compliance in robots, we need to take several steps back to 1985, when MIT professor Neville Hogan published foundational work on impedance control, realizing that robots shouldn't just track positions, but regulate the force it generated as well.
If we're thinking about collaboration and interaction between a human and a robot, you want to make sure that the physical contact is not going to cause any problems. One of the particular problems is what was known as contact instability. A robot that was stable during free motion could become unstable when you asked it to push on a surface. What's going on is that the object that you're holding is mechanically coupled into the control system for the robot, and that can change the stable system to an unstable system. Well, it turned out that if you making the machine look like a collection of springs and masses and viscous elements, that was sufficient to make sure that it was stable in contact with any object. It's common in the field to refer to this as compliant control, that the robot will get out of the way of external objects as needed.
A decade later, another MIT professor, Gill Pratt, went a step further with hardware, inserting a spring into a robotic joint and creating mechanical compliance.
Long before I became a professor at MIT and started doing the work on series elastic actuators, there had been a lot of work on compliance. When you have a robot, typically it's made out of an electromagnetic motor of some kind, followed by some gear reduction, just like bicycle gears. That same gear that raises the torque lowers the speed. Unfortunately, gear reduction causes something called reflected inertia. It's going to be as if the robot weighs a tremendous amount, and it can really injure a person. Putting a physical compliance, a spring, in series with the output of that gear train removes that reflected inertia at the very high frequencies.
Another development came in 2019, when researchers began experimenting with learned policies, having robots imitate millions of simulated interactions. But environments that didn't precisely match the simulations proved problematic, setting the stage for modern AI to help solve the problem of compliance.
One thing we haven't done is to make robots trained with machine learning be compliant. We came up with this new approach that we call SoftMimic. Now, our robots not only follow the motions that we command them to be, but also they're smart about how much force they exert. For example, if the robot is carrying a cup of tea, but it hits a table, the robot will adjust and absorb the shock. And this is what it means for the robot to be smart about force application. Our lab has pursued this approach of training robots in a simulation, the digital replica of the physical world, where robots can be collecting data in a digital equivalent of reality. In just a few hours, we can collect hundreds of days worth of data. And by this, robot becomes intelligent to decide how much force is going to apply to the physical environment. Mastery of these compliant behaviors is the key for unlocking capabilities of humanoid robotics and to safely get these robots into unscripted human environments like my and your homes. That's what the team at the Improbable AI Lab is really excited about, to make robots at home a reality.